Freak war das von Strangelove und der ehemalige Frontsänger und jetzt Solo-Artist Patrick Duff ist gerade hier bei mir im Studio. Hi to Patrick Duff, who's in the studio with me right now.
Nice to be here.
Hi. I read that you were discovered by your former Strangelove bandmates when you were a street musician.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you tell us a bit more about this kind of movie-like turning point in your life?
Well, I was been busking for about 2 years after I left school. And there was a guy called Dave Francolini. He saw me busking, and then he invited me around his house, and I played some songs that I'd written. And he basically said to me, and then I saw him later on, and he's basically said to me, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing wandering around with your guitar and a piece of string? Why? And I just said, I don't know. And he said to me, get in the back of the car, you're going to be a pop star. That's what he said to me. And he took me back to his studio that he had, and we recorded some stuff, and Strangelove came from there. So, yeah. Sounds like I made it up, but honestly, it's what happened.
It does. It does.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
How did you become a street artist in the first place?
Well, I was lucky enough, my dad taught me. My dad was an amazing musician, and he taught me a few chords, basically. And so I didn't have any money, and it was the only way I knew how to make some money, basically.
Also Patrick Duff erzählt, dass er eigentlich nur um Geld zu machen ein Straßenkünstler geworden ist. Auf der Straße stand mit seiner Gitarre, weil sein Vater ihm ein paar Akkorde beigebracht hat. Und irgendwann kam dann jemand angefahren und meinte, hey, setz dich hinten ins Auto rein, du wirst ein Popstar. Und so startete dann die Karriere bei Strangelove. Which songs did you used to play when you were a street musician, do you remember?
I basically used to make them up. They were about what was going on in front of me. I called them sky songs. And there were times where sometimes I would just like chant one line gloomy line over and over again. And then suddenly there'd be other times when you had purple patches of inspiration and everything before you seemed to come alive, and you could make songs up in the moment about the people who were walking past or whatever you were seeing. And that was my earliest beginnings in the art of songwriting, I think. But I never wrote any of those songs down. They were just completely in the moment. They existed just for that time.
But did you have a similar approach for Strangelove's songs?
Well, I started to write them down, so that was slightly different. Yeah, and then they got recorded. So then you heard them again. Like I was absolutely shocked when I first heard myself recorded. Because it was just really strange to hear my own voice coming back.
Yeah.
And it was only through, I find it so weird to hear myself that it was the rest of them going, no, it sounds amazing, Patrick. You sound great. And they pushed me over that self-consciousness that a lot of us feel, when we hear our voices coming back at us, you know what I mean? I mean, you must have that as a radio presenter, I'm sure.
It was weird when I heard my own voice.
Exactly,
for the first time,
yeah. So my friends just pushed me over that, and now I love the sound of my own voice.
You published your debut in 2005, and you've got a new album coming up now.
That's right, yeah.
How does it feel compared to back then, putting your own music out?
Oh, God, it's really different. I mean, that first album was on EMI, so I was signed to a major record label for that. That's a very different experience than putting it out yourself. But a lot has changed in the interim period. And I think my music's developed, and as I have, and this record's a very expansive, cinematic record, actually, whereas that early stuff was more lo-fi and scratchy and a bit more attitude, whereas this is more feeling, I'd say.
Yeah.
Poetic kind of thing.
Can you still identify with the stuff that you brought out back in 2005?
I don't really listen to it, but my manager asked me to go back and listen to my albums, which she was quite surprised to hear I never do that. She's told me to do it, and I was pleasantly surprised, actually. I mean, I don't. There are I think in everything that we do, there's some of what we do is timeless, and it always exists. Some of it is of its time, and I think I can tell the difference between those two things. But I really enjoyed listening back to it. And of course, when you make the record, there's a lot of people involved. And you just remember those people that they played the double bass, and you have love for those people and gratitude for them, and it brings all that back. And just the rooms you were in when you made the music, they're very, it's very potent, when you remember all that stuff. The music brings it right back into your memory, when you hear it. But I tend not to listen to my music once I've made it.
we're going to do that together pretty soon, but I'm going to translate for our German-speaking
Okay,
listeners
cool.
first. Also Patrick Duff hat erzählt, dass es sich sehr anders anfühlt, jetzt Musik rauszubringen als Independent Artist, als damals 2005, als er bei einem Major-Label gesigned war. Da waren natürlich viel mehr Menschen involviert, aber er erinnert sich auch gerne zurück an die Zeit, an diese Räume, in denen er zusammen mit all diesen Menschen saß. Wir hören jetzt einen Song von dem Album, das er 2005 als erstes Soloalbum herausgebracht hat. This song is called Married with Kids by Patrick Duff. Married with Kids heißt dieser Song von Patrick Duff, ehemaliger Strangelove-Frontsänger, jetzt Solo-Singer und Songwriter aus dem UK. Er sitzt gerade hier bei mir im Studio. Patrick, before we start talking a little bit about your new album, and you will also play a song from that, I want to talk to you about your autobiography, The Singer, that you just published. What were the reasons for you to start writing about your life?
Well, a friend of mine, I was around about a few years ago, I was doing gigs and I started to talk in between songs. Mm-hmm. Just happened spontaneously one night. I don't even know why. And somebody came up afterwards and said, I really enjoyed you telling that story. So I noted that and I did it again. And then I started, my gigs basically came, I was playing as a solo artist then, and they became half songs, half me just talking about my life. And I got such a good response from that I then decided I'd try and write it down. Mm-hmm. I think storytelling's different than writing a book though. So I met a publisher, that was randomly, but he was very supportive of the idea of me doing it. So I knew that if I wrote a book, it would be published, and that was important to me, actually, because it's a lot of work. Yeah. I knew it was going to go somewhere. Anyway, one day, I just had the feeling, right, to go into my bedroom. I got under the duvet, I put it over my head, and I just said, can I write a book, basically? And I lay there with my eyes closed in the dark. I like getting into bed. So I've always loved it in bed. Anyway, I asked my questions there, and I just wait, and what appeared before my eyes was this tour bus that I'd been on with Strangelove, and it came back to me really, really clearly, and I could see, almost smell the place, because it was pretty smelly on there actually, but I could just really feel it, and it was with me for about 10 minutes, so then I wrote that down, and I realised in that story there was a very quite profound metaphor, actually. I won't say what it was now, because you have to buy it and read the book. But I just realised my mind had shown me something that was a memory, but it was also very poetic as well. And that's how I wrote it. My life's been a series of turning points, and all those they're all in me, and I just wrote them down, and then I stitched them together into a kind of narrative. Because it goes in and out of time, my book. It's not, it jumps about a lot, so...
Also Patrick Duff hat schon vorher gewusst, dass dieses Buch publiziert wird, was ihm sehr wichtig war, einfach diese Sicherheit zu haben. Und er hat sich einfach in sein Bett gelegt, wo er sehr gerne ist, und hat sozusagen eine Frage nach draußen geschickt. Und es kam so eine Art Vision, so eine Art Rückblende, wo er sich auf einmal wieder in diesem Strangelove-Tourbus wiedergefunden hat. Und auf diese Art und Weise hat er so einzelne Sequenzen seines Lebens aufgeschrieben und dann im Nachgang verwoben. What did it change regarding your own perception of your life, to kind of sum it up altogether?
I think we all live with a sense of the past. You don't have to make an effort to think about the past. If I'm walking down the road, I might see something that will just evoke, especially the older you get, there's memories attached to everything, and they come, and for me, they come in the form of pictures. They don't really come in words. They're more like dreams. And that's how that was my relationship with my memory and my past. And it came when it wanted to. But writing it down is turning those pictures into words, and trying to make those words match the atmosphere of the memories that come to you, because they come with feelings, don't they, memories? They're not just pictures. They have feelings with them as well. So it's just finding words to kind of like make those two things match up in some way. I think by doing that process, I changed myself forever. You know, I wrote back over my whole life and everything that's alive in me that stayed alive, because some of it I can't remember. But what is alive in me has been turned into words, you know. And I think that would change anyone.
Also Patrick Duff denkt, dass es auf jeden wohl eine ziemlich starke Auswirkung hätte, die eigenen Gefühle nochmal so zu durchleben, nochmal auch in Worte zu verwandeln, was man für Gefühle hat, wenn diese Bilder vor dem inneren Auge auftauchen. You brought a song from your new and coming album, Another Word for Rose.
That's right.
Which song did you bring?
It's called Foolish People.
And why did you choose that song?
Well, I've only just worked out a version of this with Woody, and so I think we worked on it about a week ago, and so it's really alive at the moment. It's alive, and that's why we want to do it.
Okay, then we're gonna listen to it now. Have fun.
Thank you. Just gonna. Okay, you ready, Woods? Knowing you're not anyone in a world where you can't be strong. Knowing you're not anyone in a world where you don't last long. In a world where you can't compete, pretty voices keep on singing in your sleep. In a world where you can't compete, you just have to put your trust in the love of God. I'm not the one who can find a way out of this mess that we made of everything. Filling the air with the song of my prayer, like a bankrupted millionaire. You lost your way trying to be someone, made your mistakes trying to play along, knowing you're not anyone to pour your heart into another song. In a world where you can't compete, pretty voices keep on singing in your sleep. In a world where you feel so weak, you just have to put your trust in the love of God. You're not the one who can work a way out of this mess that we made of everything. Filling the air with the song of my prayer, like a bankrupted millionaire. I'm not anyone, I'm not anyone, I'm not anyone, I'm not I'm not anyone. 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 I'm not anyone.
Beautiful. That was Patrick Duff with a single from his new album, Another Word for Rose. Patrick Duff is live in the studio with me. Thank you very much, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
In your songs, you sing about intimate, emotional topics. Why is it important to share this inner world of yours with your audience?
I think my songs come to me like dreams in a way. So it's like I don't have so much choice over my songs as people might imagine. It's like in the same way as you have a dream, you can't really choose what it is. So my songs come in that way. And so that's how they've decided to be in me. And I have to try and be true to that, you know. In a way, it would be nice if I wasn't like that, but that's the way I am. And I've made peace with that. As the years have gone on, I've become more and more confident about who I actually am and what my songs actually want to say. And so that's just the way it's been for me. My songs feel like it's important for me to express what's going on. And I have to go with that. I'm a servant to them in a way. So, yeah.
Has it always been like that? That your dreams come to you?
I think it's always been a bit like that, but there's also been things when I was younger. I was very influenced and attracted by, you know, listening to the Stooges. Like when I listen to the Stooges, I want to be like the Stooges. When I listen to like Joy Division, I want to be like Joy Division. You know, so I was like getting, you know, moved around in loads of different directions by what I thought was cool. And I think that's a good thing, and it needs to happen. It's part of your artistic, and I absorbed lots from that. But now my songs, they know what they are, and I know what I am. And so that's what this album's really, I think the fruition of that journey of like, this is what my songs are saying now, and this is what they sound like, and it's not like anybody else, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of happy. I'm happy to be there.
And in your autobiography, you also write about your former drug and alcohol addiction, which you've successfully fought. How did the drug use, but also your recovery, influence your creative output?
By the end of my using drugs and alcohol, I had pretty much killed my creative output. And that's one of the reasons why I needed to stop, you know. So in the beginning, when I took those things, they were quite creative, but by the end they weren't. Mm-hmm. And my recovery from all that has been just a constant flourishing of creativity. And, you know, it's like the older I get, the more sensitive I seem to become, and the more my creativity wants to talk to me, the more sober I get, the more it's got to say. I mean, I never, ever thought that would happen. Or I mean, it's come as an incredible surprise to me, but a very welcome one.
And did you get response of fans that may have conquered similar obstacles in their lives?
My life's full of people who I kind of live alongside people of that nature, you know, because it's hard for me. Although there's people in my life who are addicted to things, and I love them, you know, but it's hard to get really, really close to those people for me.
Yeah, I get that.
Not that I don't love them, but you know.
Yeah, but it's triggering.
It's just like they're in a kind of like glass. You can't get through. They can't let you in.
Okay.
You know? It's not. Yeah. It's not so much for me. It's more coming from them.
So very nice for us listeners that you brought through your wall of glass and are able to share your inner life with us.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here in the studio with me
Thank you
today,
so much.
Patrick.
I've really enjoyed it. It's been lovely, and thanks for playing so much of my music. It's really an honor. Thank you.
You can see Patrick Duff live in Hamburg. Ihr könnt Patrick Duff live in Hamburg sehen. Übermorgen im Kill in Hamburg. Und wir hören einen weiteren Song. We're gonna listen to one more song. It's the last single that was released. It's called Water, and the new album,
Great.
Another Word for Rose, is coming on November 1st.